Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a student and an assistant in a job agency. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Good afternoon, Rights Employment Agency. How can I help you?
Oh, hello. I'm calling to register with the agency. I'm looking for work.
Have you registered with us before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay, so shall we start by taking down some details? Can I have your name, please?
Yes, it's Helen Shepherd. That's Shepard.
Sheperd.
No, ARD.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I've got that. And your address?
18 Henley Street.
Is that in Milltown?
Yes, the postcode is MT47HV.
7HB?
No, V.
Okay, I've got that. And I need a contact number.
My mobile is 07945 76674. That's the best number to contact me on.
So, are you interested in full or part-time work?
Well, I will be looking for a part-time job in a couple of months when I start university, but at the moment I'm looking for full-time work. I left school last year and took a gap year before going to university. I'd like to work for the next 2 months and save some money before I go.
What did you do in your gap year?
I did some voluntary work for 6 months, and then for the last 3 months, I've been travelling in Southeast Asia and Australia.
That sounds exciting.
Yes, it was fantastic.
So, I need to take down details of any work experience. You say you did some voluntary work? What did that involve?
I worked at a residential school for disabled children. I really enjoyed it. The children and the rest of the staff were fantastic. My degree course is in health and social care, so it really gave me good experience for that.
Yes, of course. Have you any other experience?
Well, I did a bit of waitressing work when I was at school, and I spent a summer working in the King's Hotel on West Street 2 years ago.
What were you doing there? Waitressing?
No, I was a chambermaid, cleaning the bedrooms.
Oh, yes. I did a bit of that when I was a student. Okay, that all seems fine. You've got some experience, which is good. Just a couple more questions. Do you drive?
Yes, I took my test last year, but I don't have access to a car, so I do rely on public transport.
That shouldn't be a problem. I'll just make a note of it here. No car. And I need to know exactly when you're available and whether you'll be able to do shift work. You know, early mornings, late nights.
I don't have a problem with early morning shifts. I'd prefer not to do night shifts, though.
And when would you be able to start?
Immediately, if necessary. The sooner the better.
Now answer questions 6 to 10. I'll just check our database to see if we have anything suitable. Let's see. We have some hotel work here, the Highlands. Do you know it?
Is it the one near the Prior's shopping centre?
No, it's just off the ring road on the other side of town, near the leisure centre.
That's quite a distance for me. Is it cleaning work?
Well, I think it's a bit of everything. Some cleaning, some waitressing, and kitchen work. It would be shift work, but nothing later than 10. The hourly rate is £6.75 with meals provided.
That sounds reasonable, but I'd prefer something a little closer to home if possible, as that's a long journey for me.
Well, we also have 2 positions as carers. The first one is in a residential home for the elderly. It's on Hamilton Terrace, the Cedars Care Home.
Oh yes, I know where that is. It's only 10 minutes walk from my house.
Well, that's convenient then. They want someone with experience. I'm not sure if your experience with children would count. I could give the manager a ring and find out.
Do you know what the hours are?
Yes, it says here 5 shifts a week from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., including some weekends. There may also be some evening shifts available. The pay is not as good as the hotel job, only £6.10 an hour.
And the other one?
The other one is an interesting one. It's caring for a disabled lady in her own home in Poplar Street, helping her wash and dress and doing housework and shopping for her, that sort of thing. It's not full-time work, though, just 2 to 3 hours every morning. The pay is good, £6.80 an hour, and transport is provided.
I do like the sound of that, but I really need more hours. I think the care home sounds the most suitable.
We can arrange an interview for you if you like. I'll ring the manager now and find out when he can see you. Are you available this afternoon?
Yes, I'm free all day.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear someone giving a welcome speech at the opening of a new arts centre.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the new Midlands Arts Centre. We are delighted that so many of you have managed to brave the rain and come out tonight to help us celebrate the opening of this new facility. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the complex itself and show you what is on offer here. But first, a little background. It was well over 15 years ago now that the idea was born to create a centre of drama, music and art that would attract visitors from the local area and beyond. Our aim was to provide a place of entertainment for the whole family, which would also offer education and training opportunities to performers and artists from around the world as well as the local community. With the help of local businesses, we aim to offer annual grants to up-and-coming artists who might otherwise be unable to fulfil their dreams. As you will see when you look around, we already have an exhibition of 2 young local artists. You will find that in Exhibition Room B. I must admit I've never been a big fan of abstract art, but I was blown away by the exhibits on display by these talented youngsters. Exhibition Room A houses our other temporary display. This one includes sculpture made from recycled objects and a collection of film posters from the 1970s and 80s, a must for any film buffs out there. The Rees Gallery houses our permanent exhibits, which include a collection of historical photographs of the local area and work by local artists Gemma Brock and Giles Priestman. There will be guided tours every 15 minutes throughout the evening. For any budding young artists here this evening, we have a drawing workshop starting in 5 minutes with celebrated local cartoonist Andy Minot. Andy will be sharing some techniques for creating caricatures and showing some of his most famous works. You will find Andy at the back of the Rees Gallery, and all under 16s are welcome. There are many other events taking place this evening, but I haven't got time to go through all of them. Your programme will give you details. I've just picked out a few of the highlights. Later in the evening, there will be a performance from the Midlands Youth Band and Dale Park Youth Choir. This is the first time they have performed together, and I can guarantee that it is not to be missed. They are performing tonight in the Gilbert Theatre at 7 p.m, but don't worry if you missed that one. They will be on again at 8:45 p.m, this time in the studio. Be sure to get there in good time. Another important event tonight is a talk by local writer James Carver. He'll be discussing his series of historical crime novels and reading from his latest book, The Secret Stone. He will also be signing copies of his books. I know he has a lot of fans out there, so make sure you go along. The event starts in the studio at 7:30 p.m. Finally, the big event of the evening will be a performance by the award-winning Simon Bradford and his Jazz and Blues Band. Simon has recently completed a sell-out tour of Europe and has just released a new album. And we are delighted he has travelled all the way from his home in Canada for tonight's performance. His show and album have received fantastic reviews, and I really can't wait for this. Be sure to be seated in the Moffat Hall in good time for the show. It starts at 9 p.m. and will be the final event of the evening.
Now answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, you should all have a programme with a plan of the complex. Please do have a good look around while you're here and make the most of the facilities. So, we're standing just by the main entrance, and you can see the Moffat Hall at the back of the complex on my right. This is the main feature of the complex and seats almost 2,000. We hope this will become a world-class concert venue, and one glance at the forthcoming events gives a good indication of what we can look forward to in the coming months. By the way, if you wish to book for any forthcoming events, the box office, which is over here on my left, will be open all evening. There are 2 places to get refreshments. For light meals and snacks, you can try the Stage Door Cafe. You'll see that straight in front of us. It is open all day from 10 a.m. and serves snacks until 9 p.m. For something more substantial, you can try our Italian restaurant, which serves freshly prepared pizza, pasta and other classic Italian dishes. You'll find it on the left there next to the box office, and it's open from midday until 11 p.m. I ate there earlier, and the food is absolutely delicious. All the arts exhibits are to the right of the entrance. Access to the temporary exhibition rooms is around the back of the Rees Gallery. To get to these, go past the entrance to the gallery and turn right, and you'll see some double doors immediately on your right. As you go through the doors, Exhibition Room A is on your right and B is on your left. Our 2 theatres, the Gilbert and the Studio, can both be found over there towards the back of the building. You can see the Studio, which seats 150, over there next to the cinema. Immediately to the right and behind the cafe is the 800-seater Gilbert Theatre. We hope that these 2 venues will be used by professional touring theatre companies as well as for local amateur productions. You will see as you enter the centre there is a gift shop directly on your right. This sells greetings cards, books and a variety of gifts, including paintings by local artists. Finally, I should just point out the cloakrooms. You will see the nearest are here on my left, and there are further facilities near the entrance of the Moffat Hall. Well, there's nothing more for me to say than to wish you all an enjoyable evening. If you have any questions, please do ask.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear a conversation between the Professor, Sandra and Mike. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 30. Good morning. Now, this term we've looked at various aspects of recruitment, and you can now see how much more there is to it than just putting applicants through a short interview or reading CVs. Now, today's tutorial is just to recap some of the main points regarding recruitment. I'd like you to imagine that you are managers, and we will discuss how different applicants would fit into the team or group they have to work with. We'll look at some examples later. You can select someone, even a friend, who has all the right qualifications. Then you can also check that they have a lot of experience, that they've done the sort of tasks that you want them to do in your company.
But you need to know if they have the right character, don't you?
Precisely, Sandra. If they start work and you realize that they just don't get along with everybody else, you've got a problem? Exactly, Mike, exactly. They might have contrasting views on how to do something. They might not be able to get on with other members of your team.
Even adding one person to a team can change the whole group dynamic, can't it?
Absolutely. This could be particularly true with someone who is particularly outgoing or outspoken.
Could company training reduce the possibility of this happening?
Possibly, but company training tends to show new people how you do something at a particular company, rather than changing a person's character to suit your company. There's also the question of ability. Particularly in a team situation, people have to believe in each other's ability to do the tasks the boss has given. They have to trust that everyone will do their part of the job.
Right, but trying to find out what someone's personality is in a job interview is, well, is it possible? I mean, you won't find out what they're really like until they actually start work.
Well, is there any value in asking candidates questions about their hobbies, for example?
I doubt it. What could that tell you?
I don't know. It could tell you something about their personality, whether they're outgoing, for example. Most people involved in recruitment would argue that it does tell you something. More and more employers around the world are making use of personality questionnaires to help them select new staff. Yes, you mentioned those in the last lecture. Do they work? Well, most employers use them, but there is concern that they do not reveal the applicant's true personality.
Yeah, some people might just write the answers that they think the employer wants.
That's true. Very often, employers can weed out the applicants who do that by asking more detailed questions during the interview. The fact that they have been used for so long and that they are so widely used makes me think that there must be something in them. Well,
I'm not so sure. Just because they're used a lot, that doesn't automatically mean that they are useful or worthwhile.
true, but these tests have been created by experts, and they believe that the answers can provide indicators as to roughly the type of person that the applicant is.
How about the idea of setting problems for applicants and seeing how they approach them?
I like that idea, but the problems need to be simple, since there's not much time to prepare a full answer. In addition, the applicant doesn't have much background knowledge of the way that the company does things.
It's a good idea, but may not always be practical. Usually it is, though.
I'll need convincing. Let's move on to take a look at...
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a monologue on the subject of recycling programs. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Today we're going to look at recycling programs. The confusion over what we can and cannot recycle continues to confound consumers. Let's look at plastics first, as they are especially troublesome, since different types of plastic require different processing to be reformulated and reused as raw material. Some municipalities accept all types of plastic for recycling, while others only accept jugs, containers and bottles, with certain numbers stamped on their bottoms. The symbol code we're familiar with, a single digit ranging from 1 to 7 and surrounded by a triangle of arrows, was designed by the Society of the Plastics Industry, or SPI, in 1988, to allow consumers and recyclers to differentiate types of plastics while providing a uniform coding system for manufacturers. The numbers, which many countries now require to be moulded or imprinted on all or at least most containers that can accept the half-inch minimum size symbol, identify the type of plastic. The symbols also help recyclers do their jobs more effectively. The easiest and most common plastics to recycle are made of polyethylene terephthalate, or PETE, and are assigned the number 1. Examples include soda and water bottles, medicine containers, and many other common consumer product containers. Once it has been processed by a recycling facility, PETE can become fiberfill for winter coats, sleeping bags, and life jackets. It can also be used to make bean bags, rope, car bumpers, tennis ball felt, combs, cassette tapes, sails for boats, furniture, and of course other plastic bottles. Number 2 is reserved for high-density polyethylene plastics. These include heavier containers that hold laundry detergents and bleachers as well as milk, shampoo, and motor oil. Plastic labelled with the number 2 is often recycled into toys. Piping, plastic lumber and rope. Like plastic designated number 1, it is widely accepted at recycling centres. Plastics that are less commonly recycled include polyvinyl chloride, commonly used in plastic pipes, shower curtains, medical tubing, vinyl dashboards, and even some baby bottle nipples. These get the number 3. Like number 4, which include wrapping films, grocery and sandwich bags, and other containers made of low-density polyethylene, and 5, which are polypropylene containers used in Tupperware, among other products. Few municipal recycling centres will accept it due to its very low rate of recyclability. Another useful plastic to recycle is number 6, which is used in polystyrene or styrofoam items such as coffee cups, disposable cutlery, meat trays, packing peanuts, and insulation. It is widely accepted because it can be reprocessed into many items, including cassette tapes and rigid foam installation. Last, but far from the least, the hardest plastics to recycle are items crafted from various combinations of the aforementioned plastics, or from unique plastic formulations not commonly used, usually imprinted with a number 7 or nothing at all. These plastics are the most difficult to recycle and, as such, are seldom collected or recycled. More ambitious consumers should feel free to return such items to the product manufacturers to avoid contributing to the local waste stream, and instead put the burden on the makers to recycle or dispose of the items properly.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.